boy and a girl, albatross around their necks, hands burning from the rope, ships stranded in the tropics.
1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 13. And he said, and as he read, saying, Woe, woe unto Jerusalem, for I have seen thine abominations, yea, and many things did my father read concerning Jerusalem, that it should be destroyed, and the inhabitants thereof. Many should perish by the sword, and many should be carried away into Babylon. Now, Babylon is not a righteous place, but the Lord is allowing Babylon to come in and destroy Jerusalem. And I think a lot of times you can say that doesn't make any sense. Why would the Lord allow something unrighteous to come in and take over his covenant people? But this happens throughout the whole Book of Mormon. This happens completely through the Bible and the Book of Mormon, where the Lord uses people who are not part of his covenant, who are being unrighteous, to in a sense come and scourge and to remind his covenant people what they've forgotten. And this whole circle happens through the whole Book of Mormon. And he allows, later in the Book of Mormon, of course, is the Lamanites, right? Where Jacob makes it clear, he talks about the Lamanites, that they keep certain laws that they know, and they're only really unrighteous because of their fathers. The Nephites know better. So they're actually seen a lot of times better in God's eyes than the Nephites are. And I think we need to remember that very clearly, no matter where we are, with how much knowledge we have, that more is expected out of us if more has been given to us. So for the person who has not known all these sort of things, has not had the law of God given to them, has not known the scriptures, can't be harsh on them, right? We have to look at ourselves and say, I have a higher expectation on me than that person does over there. And the Lord's made this very clear in the Book of Mormon. So we have to be able to look at ourselves and say, how should I be living? What should be the expectation on me, since I know Christ, I know the truth, I know the plan of salvation, I know all these things, and yet how am I living? What does my life look like? Am I loving everybody I see? Am I making perfect choices? No, you're not making perfect choices. Everybody makes stupid choices all the time, and they have to repent. And yet it's very easy to look at that person across the way and say, what is wrong with that person? Why can't they do better? And yet they have not been taught or even offered a lot of times what we have. And that's just kind of how it is. More is expected from those who are given more. Israel at this time had been given God's law, God's temple, prophets, scriptures, and an overall knowledge that Babylon didn't have. Now, God is still merciful, obviously, to Jerusalem. He's sending in prophets, right, during this time. That's what he's whole leading up for Lehi here. He sends in prophets. He does everything he possibly can. He doesn't just destroy without letting somebody know that they need to repent. But there's a lesson always we learned here, that the Lord does use places like Assyria, he uses places like Babylon, and to remind people who have been given more that they need to repent and get it together. He does allow these sort of things. So, I'm not saying personally like everything that happens here doesn't mean everything is a reminder of that. But I know people ask, like 9/11, how could this ever happen? How would the Lord ever allow such a thing to occur? And we have to look at it sometimes is the Lord telling us something through this, allowing this to happen to us? Is the Lord why is he allowing different things? And use that moment when he does tell us that to change for the better, because we could always change for the worse, right? We can always use it for anger and for vengeance against God and to blame God for those sorts of things. But it's meant to remind us that we need the Lord. It's meant to remind us that we need to be better.